Hello everyone, welcome to another video on the channel. It's time for round 9 of the FIA Manufacturers Exhibition Season 2020. We are going to Mount Panorama, better known as Bathurst in Australia, Group 4 category. We have 10 laps to get through with tyre wear at times 8, fuel at times 3. The racing soft and the racing medium are the tyres of or the selection. And the tyre requirement is that we must run the racing medium at some point. So the first thing we shall move on to take a look at, and I think it's quite an important element of this race for a couple of reasons, is the pit stop. So we're just coming down through the mountain, the twisty downhill section of Mount Panorama. Sort of quite a pivotal part of the lap in terms of lap time, the easiest place to sort of lose time, I guess. That last corner there of the mountain, I think it's called the elbow. Very important to sort because your exit speed determines how much you carry down this very, very long straight. But we are heading towards the pit lane, a couple of corners to go. And as I said, a couple of things to sort of talk about here, and one is the pit entry. Very, very easy to get this pit entry wrong and miss it completely. So you want to be braking about that 150 metre board there and slowing the car right down and getting the car nicely into the pits. It's very easy to brake too late and miss the entrance to the pits altogether, and that will result in a reset onto the pit straight. And completely ruin your race. So I think the pit lane time has been increased a little bit for this one. It used to be very short, the pit loss used to be about 3 or 4 seconds. But the car does take a little bit longer to get the box to the box now than what I remember. And you lose a little bit of speed compared to coming out of turn 1, so it's by about this sort of bridge before things equalise. So that pit loss coming in at, it's a shade under 7 seconds, but if you're looking at the gap before you make your pit stop, then at least give yourself 7 seconds. If you've got a gap of 7 seconds, you should be able to sort of pit and come out in front of the car behind. Now we shall move on to take a little bit of a look at some race runs, talk a little bit about strategy, and what we think is the best way to go about this one. So first thing, just to sort of clear up very, very briefly, just touch on it, is fuel. Fuel set at times 3. I tested it in the Mustang, which is the worst car that I know on fuel in Group 4, and it can do 10 laps without any kind of fuel saving. So I can't foresee any car in the Group 4 category having any issues with fuel. So that is one element taken off the table straight away. Now the requirement is we must run the medium tyre, which technically means we could do an on-stop on the medium. And the medium, from what I can see, would probably manage the 10 laps without too many issues, probably start to suffer in the last couple of laps. But it is by far not the way to go about this one. It would be way too slow. You've got the racing soft tyre out there, so you're definitely going to be using that at some point. So with that in mind, we're pretty much, well, we are locked into a pit stop at very least, definitely doing one. The pit loss is not that much, we've seen by about 7 seconds, but the tyres just don't seem to lose enough speed over the course of a stint, and the laps are obviously quite low, only 10, so I think we can remove the 2-stopper off the table as well. So this one is, in my book, a one-stop, and the only question left to answer is how we are going to tackle that one-stop. So what we are looking at here, we have started on the racing soft tyre. We're coming to the end of our first lap. You can see we've just started to suffer the smallest little bit of tyre wear at the end of one lap. And it's a long lap. An actual racing lap coming in about 2 minutes 13, but a lot of it is long straights. For a long lap of over 2 minutes, not that many corners, to be perfectly honest with you. So we're heading up towards the end of the first sector. Again, the first sector is just one corner. and we move on to the end of lap 4. So you can see our first lap there at 2 minutes 12.6. Lap 3 a few tenths slower, and we've actually done a fastest sector 3 of the race. So the tyres holding up not too bad here as we move into the end of lap 4 and on to lap 5. Now, from the little bit of testing that I did before, I know if I was to pit at the end of lap 5, I could go straight into the low 13s on the medium tyres, and probably the high 12s if I really nailed a lap. So at the end of lap 5, and looking at the deltas as we sort of negotiated that lap, we're about a second down on our base lap, so we're well into the mid 13s, and that definitely is time to pit. As I said, we know we can do sort of low 13s on the mediums, so if you're starting on the soft tyres, I think you're probably looking at pitting maybe even as early as lap 4, but definitely by lap 5. So that was just again another wee look at the pit stop. Again, I'll just reiterate, be very, very careful on the pit entry. It's quite infamous within the game for causing a few dramas and causing people to ruin their races, so if you're new to the game, please keep that in mind. There is a 150 metres board just before the pit lane, and you really want to be on the brakes by about that point. So we've made our pit stop there. We can see what was the out lap there, sorry, the in lap. We lost, what's that coming in at, 10.8 seconds, and then the out lap being about 3 seconds normal, 4 seconds quicker than a normal lap. So sometimes you can calculate the pit loss that way. I've got a slightly different way of doing it, but I'm sort of more confident in the sort of way that I do it, that it's about 7 seconds. So you can see here on our first flying lap on the mediums, it was looking like a good lap. We're only 2 tenths down on our best lap, but we make a bit of a mess of that corner just there, so that's going to cost us some time. We don't do a particularly great last corner either, but as we come over the line we'll get an idea of what the mediums were capable of, and it's a 2 minutes 13.3, so we're 7 tenths down on our best lap on the softs. But as I said, we definitely lost about 3 tenths in that, I think, the second to last corner. So definitely low 13s, which would have been faster than our last lap on the softs. So lap 5 is the latest you want to be pitting from softs onto mediums. I do think you could probably get away with pitting on lap 4. However, I'm not sure that will be the optimal way to negotiate this race. I think a lot of people are going to see some value in starting on the medium tyres. So we'll get an idea of how much slower the mediums will be over these opening laps compared to running on the softs. Now, the reason I think the mediums will be quite good to start on is the slipstream is obviously quite strong in the game, and with these long straights, as long as you can sort of hold on through the twisty mountain section, you should be able just to get dragged along the rest of the lap. So we've done our opening lap there on the mediums. It was a 119.3 on the softs, and we've done a 120.2. So we've lost a little under a second on that one. Our first flying lap on the mediums, a 13.8 in comparison to a 12.6 on the softs. So 1.2 seconds the difference for that one. So it's looking like initially, as long as you sort of not quite nail your laps on the mediums, but sort of put in some good laps, they're looking about around about a second a lap slower compared to the softs over those first 2 laps. And I think obviously the softs will start to degrade very, very slightly, whereas the mediums won't at that point, so that differential in lap time will start to decrease as you get into laps 3 and 4. So you can see here we're actually about to set our fastest lap here on lap 3 on the mediums, as long as we can get these last couple of corners right. Lost a couple of tenths in sector 3, but we are or half a second up prior to that. So out the last corner we come, and we cross the line to do a 13.6. In comparison to that, our third lap on the soft was a 2:13.0. So I estimate at this point, 3 laps into the race, on the mediums we're about 2.6 seconds down on the soft run. And as I said, with the benefit of a slipstream in a real race situation, I think you could hold on. And we know we can do 5 laps on the softs with the fuel burned down by a third. I think by the time we get to the end of the third lap, so it'll be around about a quarter you've had the burn. I think you could certainly do 7 laps on the softs if required, but easily do 6 laps. So the 2 ways I see of doing this one is we start on the softs. You'll either pit on lap 4 or 5, but no later. I think the softs lose too much lap time after that. You would be quicker on mediums after lap 5. But I think the better option for this one is to start on the mediums. Use the slipstream and the sort of general chaos of the first lap to stick with the soft runners at that point. And if you're feeling really brave, pit at the end of lap 3 and then do a 7 lap stint on the softs. Now I think you will be suffering come the last lap if you do that, but Bathurst can be all about track position. If you can get to the second corner of the track ahead of a car, then it's very, very difficult for anyone to sort of do any overtaking over the hill and down the hill. Maybe if you want to play it slightly safer by starting on the mediums, go to the end of lap 4 and then pit for softs. The softs will certainly do 6 laps at that point. So that's my thoughts for this one. Hope there's been some useful information in here. So I will wish you good luck in your races. Hope you get a good result. Don't get caught out by that pit lane. You can make yourself look a little bit silly. And I do have an update coming before this race is released, so once the update is been released I will double check that pit loss. Just sometimes the pit lane times can be changed in updates. And hopefully we'll have an implementation of the penalty system will have been returned to the game. That would be good. Haven't found it be too bad without the penalty system, but I know once temperatures start rising on the grid that they can get a little bit heated out there. So as I said, good luck in your races. I hope this video has been useful for some people out there, and I shall see you on the next one. Goodbye now.